Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tucker, and in today's video, we're doing a Houston Rockets trade machine. I haven't done a trade machine video in a little while. Did a Buddy Hield one a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to talk about specifically some things that we could come up with to try and help the Houston Rockets. And this might be the most difficult trade machine video that I've ever put together. I have two community suggested ones and two ones that I came up with because the way the Rockets roster and contracts are constructed, pretty much everybody is either being paid a ton of money or they're role player guys like PJ Tucker and Robert Covington that are really essential to the roster. So it was difficult to come up with some options. That's why I talked about in the rebuild video for them why it would be difficult for them to kind of do anything moving forward other than just run it back. But we're going to do our best in today's video. And of course, thank you to everybody that sent me trades over on Twitter and in YouTube comments as well. But really quickly before we get started, if you enjoy content like this, and consider subscribing. I upload basically every single day, and leaving a like rating is a great way to let me know that you're enjoying the content. And I promise it helps out the video a ton when you guys leave those likes down below. With that said, let's go and get started. Really quick shameless plug here though. By the time you guys are watching this, I will be live over on Twitch at Spolo_TD playing some of the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Alpha that comes out today. If you want to come hang out, talk about basketball, see some of the Alpha gameplay, then check that out over there. Okay, here we go with the first trade, and it involves the Houston Rockets and the Philadelphia 76ers. And the context here is that the Rockets hire a coach that needs a big guy. They say, you know what, I can't do this micro ball thing. I need a legitimate five-man on this roster. And they say, okay, we'll get you one. The Rockets would be receiving Al Horford in a second-round pick in exchange for Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, and Ben McLemore. And the idea here is that Al Horford's value in a trade is really not that high considering, how big his contract is going to be over the next couple of years. And he's still a good player and a player that can help Houston. So they really shouldn't have to give up a ton in exchange for Horford, a player his age and with his contract situation. And for the Sixers, they get a little bit more perimeter creation and playmaking, which is something that this roster does need. And they get rid of the Horford contract. So now you add a perimeter player in Eric Gordon alongside Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, and Joel Embiid, creating what should ideally be one of the better two-way teams in the league because Gordon can defend as well. And as long as he stays healthy, I think this is actually a pretty solid move for Philadelphia, again, from a long-term standpoint of getting out of the Al Horford money and also getting some perimeter creation on the roster and allowing them to not feel like they have to play Joel Embiid and Al Horford at the same time. For Houston, I feel like this would just be kind of a necessity type move if the new coach feels like they have to have a big guy on the floor. Otherwise, they'd probably keep Gordon and keep going with this whole micro small ball unit type thing that they've been doing. The only other downside to this for Houston is they do have to give up a significant amount of their depth. They have to give up Austin Rivers and Ben McLemore as well just to make the salaries work here. And that can be a really, really tough thing for a Rockets team that really doesn't have a ton of depth to begin with. So that could definitely be a question mark, but they are getting a second round pick here that's actually the Knicks' second round pick, so it's pretty high. Maybe they could get some depth that way. Okay, next up is a variation of a trade that was sent to me a couple of different times over on Twitter. And Costa says, given the upcoming coaching change, Houston will probably be in need of a 5. Similar situation to the last trade. And he says the Rockets would be receiving Nikola Vucevic in exchange for Eric Gordon, Daniel House, and a 2023 lottery-protected first-round pick. So the mindset here is that the Magic are looking at their roster and they're thinking, okay, we're a good team. We're probably not going to be a great one with this roster. We have something in Mo Bamba, hopefully. Let's see what we have there, and let's get value out of Nikola Vucevic while also getting some perimeter creation and playmaking that this roster has needed for a very, very long time in Eric Gordon. And let's just see how that works. Clearly, they're not going to be like a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference with their current roster. So maybe they change some things up. They move some of their front court talent into the backcourt, and they see how that opens things up for everything else. Plus, they get that extra first-round pick. And Daniel House is a nice player as well. So a nice couple of pieces there for Orlando in exchange for a player in Vucevic that's really, really good, but maybe isn't a great fit for the roster. For Houston, it's a similar thing to the first trade where they're getting a 5-man. They have this new coach that says, you know what, I need a traditional big. And Vucevic comes with the added value as well of being able to shoot from the three-point line. And of course, his game doesn't fit perfectly here because he's not going to be great defensively, nor is he really going to be this great floor spacing big all the time. He's going to want his post touches, which isn't really what Houston does. But under a new coach, maybe that will change and Vucevic can be, a really nice scoring option for this Houston team. Now, if I'm the Magic, I probably don't do this trade just because of the lottery protection on the pick. You don't know how that pick is going to roll over because at that point, the Rockets might have blown it all up and that pick might end up just becoming, a second round pick. If this was an unprotected 2023 pick, I'd 100% do this if I was the Magic, even though Eric Gordon isn't like a young piece that you're getting in exchange For Vucevic, that's just kind of where I'm at on the Magic roster, that they need to figure out this logjam they have in the front court. They need to play a little bit more for the future, and I think that trading away Vucevic in this manner, if they're getting an unprotected pick, would work really well there. For the Rockets, I would probably do this as well, considering it's a lottery protected pick. I really like Daniel House as a player, but if you're talking about bringing in a new coach and things like that, I think bringing in someone like Vucevic does make at least a little bit of sense. Next up is the second trade that I was able to come up with, and this one I don't feel super confident about, if I'm completely honest. It is the Detroit Pistons receiving Russell Westbrook in exchange for Blake Griffin and 2 second-round picks. So here's the mindset here. The Rockets are looking at their roster. They're like, we need to do something different. The 2 ball dominant guard thing just doesn't work for us. And Blake Griffin 2 seasons ago was an all-NBA caliber player. He had injury struggles last year, but you know, let's try it out. Let's try Blake Griffin at the 5. Let's see what that would look like. And I think that would actually be really interesting, assuming he was healthy, especially in a Rocket system that involves a lot of ball screens and things like that. And the added value of having a year less on his contract than Russell Westbrook. And if you're the Pistons, you're looking at this like, you know, Blake Griffin might be completely done. Like, he might be one of the worst contracts in the league. He might not even be able to play anymore because of the injuries and stuff like that. Let's get Russell Westbrook. Let's get some fans in the stadium. Let's get people excited to come to Pistons games to watch Russell Westbrook. And maybe that works. I'm not fully confident that that's like an exciting proposition really for either team, to be completely honest. But when you're really looking at this Houston roster and you're looking at potential trades specifically for Westbrook, it gets really, really difficult because his value is pretty limited, and then you have the huge contracts, you have to match it, and it gets really tough to move Westbrook. I think this is one of the very few that I could actually see helping both teams, but I find it very hard to think that it's going to be anything realistic. Okay, but I did save the best for last here. And this is one that was sent to me over on Twitter by Eswardo. He said, this trade would be good for everybody. The Pacers get rid of the Twin Towers by trading Miles Turner and add Kelly Oubre. Houston adds role players that complement Harden, and the Suns get a superstar they've been dying to have, and they would also kill the non-playoff streak. So the Rockets get Ricky Rubio, Dario Saric, Miles Turner, and a 2020 first-round pick from the Suns projected at 10. The Suns get Russell Westbrook, Chris Clemens, and 2 second-round picks, and the Pacers get Kelly Oubre. Right off the bat, the only question mark that I have here is why the Suns are giving up the 10th overall pick. I don't think that would happen in this scenario. Maybe there would be some other things that would happen here, but I think that's too much for them to be giving up in exchange for someone like Russell Westbrook. So for the Rockets, you're turning Westbrook into a whole bunch of different stuff. Assuming we're taking the first round pick out of this, Saric is a nice front court player. He's a free agent, so they're going to need to kind of sign and trade him for him to be involved, but I do like him as a player. Ricky Rubio can shoot a little bit, can defend a little bit. It's a good playmaker, someone that just fits a little bit more within a team than someone like Russell Westbrook. And then Miles Turner obviously would be huge for them. There were a lot of Miles Turner's trades sent to me over on Twitter, and his versatility, his ability to shoot, his ability to defend the rim would fit perfectly in Houston. Would be such a cool fit to see. For the Suns, he already said it, they're getting the star player that they need. They're trying to make the postseason. They get Russell Westbrook. Probably not a great fit when you're talking about how good Devin Booker has been with the ball in his hands and how good that partnership between him and Ricky Rubio has been. But if you're going with just the any star is a better option kind of scenario here, then I could see why the Suns would end up with Russell Westbrook. And then the Pacers, interestingly, get Kelly Oubre in exchange for Miles Turner, which I think is an awesome fit for them. They get another wing that can defend and can shoot. They open up the paint for Sabonis. Oubre can play the 4 as well. I think that's an awesome fit in Indiana. And again, I would take away that first-round pick because the Suns are already giving up Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, and Dario Saric. I know they're getting Russell Westbrook back, but there's also some contract stuff there where it actually really helps, the Rockets to get rid of someone like Westbrook. So I don't think he has so much value that you need to also throw in that first round pick there. So this is the best trade that was sent to me by far, honestly, just because it's so difficult to come up with really good Houston trades, but the 3-team stuff made this really good. So I appreciate you sending this one over to me. Really interesting. And yeah, I don't know what you guys have to say about these trades. A lot of them were kind of all over the place. Really difficult, as I continue to say, to put together good trades for the Houston Rockets. But as always, let me know down in the comment section below what you'd like to see for future Trade Machine videos, whether it be players, whether it be teams, whether it be trade ideas, whatever you have. I'm always taking a look down at the comment section below. But yeah, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.